Girls, tell me about a time where your quick thinking probably saved your life.
Okay, so one time I was at Walmart by myself and I was just getting like a few things, and I was walking around random aisles, like no one would go down them. Like you wouldn't be looking for something in those aisles like that or to something together. So I was just picking up a few things and I was walking in random aisles, and I kept noticing like there was the same voices behind me and I didn't recognize them. And so I looked back and there were two bigger guys and they were following me around. So I went to self-checkout and one of the guys walked up behind me and he's like, "Oh my god, like you're so pretty." And I was like, "Well, thank you." I was kind of trying to keep to myself. And I was at self-checkout and I was done checking out and I looked over and they were just standing at the counter like waiting for me to walk out by the doors. And so I looked around and I tried to find like a tall guy or a lady like I figured I could trust. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, alright, I need a game plan. So I'm gonna make a part 2. It's already up. Sorry, this is part 2. So I was looking around for someone I figured I could trust, and I found a lady in like a little nurse's outfit, and I went up to her and I was like, "Hi, Mom," and she just kind of looked at me weird, and I was like, "Let me stand here, please. Like I'm scared. There's guys following me, and I don't know what to do." And she said, "Okay, just let me finish checking out, and we'll go." Well, she got done checking out, and she had quite a few items, so it kind of took a minute. But we started walking out, and right when we started walking away, they were right in front of us, kind of like one of them kept looking back every few seconds to make sure we were still there. And we went outside and she was like, "Where are you parked?" And I was like, "I'm on the complete other side of the parking lot." We went to the wrong doors. She was like, "Alright, I'm just gonna sound scary right now, but get in my car and I'm gonna take you to your car. Or I'm gonna get in your car, call your parents, call whoever you need to." So if you ever feel uncomfortable, find somebody that looks trustworthy, especially girls, and just do the best you can to stay calm. I know it's scary, but
I always tell this one. When I was working in London, I was on my way home on the tube. It was about 4 or 5 stops before I needed to get off. And I got on, and immediately I noticed these 2 men that were looking me directly in the eye. And it wasn't like checking me out, anything like that. They were looking me dead in the eye, literally like locked eyes with me. And after a few minutes, I was like, this isn't normal. This is really, really scary and really weird. So I was like, okay, next stop, I'll get off at the last minute so they can't then like follow me off of the train. So I waited and I waited and I waited just before the doors were going to close. So I jump off and they immediately start getting their bags out. Like they literally start following me off the train, off into the platform. I realise that, run round to the other side of the train carriage, get back on it. They're literally running after me at this point. But luckily the door shut between us. But again, they're looking me dead in the eye. And I was so scared at the stop that I had to get off. I hid in Marks & Spencer's for like an hour just to make sure they hadn't followed me.
So a couple of years ago, I decided to go to a party with my friends, and it was bring your own drink, so we had to leave the party briefly in order to walk to the liquor store that was on the corner. And as we're walking out of the party, I noticed a group of about 5 or 6 guys following us, and these guys were beyond inebriated, so they started talking to us, asking us where we're going, what we're doing, why we're leaving the party so soon, can they come with us? And so we tried to tell them, like, no, we're just getting drinks, we'll be back, but for the life of me, they would not believe anything we said. They insisted on following us despite us trying to get them to go back to the party. Things escalated and one of the guys ended up touching me, and I don't know what it was, but immediately after he touched me, I felt nauseous. I felt awful. At that point, I stopped my friends in their tracks, and all I say is, we need to go back to the party now. So my friend turns around and tells them, "You know what, we're gonna go back to the party. Frankly, you guys are making us uncomfortable." We take 3 steps in the opposite direction, and one of the guys punches a dent in the neighbor's garage.
So when I was 19, I was coming back from college. It was a kind of a far drive. My gas light was already going off, so I knew I had to go get gas soon. All of a sudden, I get this really bad feeling in my stomach, and I got like that sixth sense where you can just tell someone's glaring at you. And so I turn over and I see a 50-year-old man who was so creepy, just like literally staring at me. He rolled down his window. He's trying to talk to me, and I was like really creeped out, just so like, ugh. And anyways, I sped up, he sped up, I slowed down, he slowed down, and so I was like, this guy is following me, like, and I didn't want to go home because I was like, I don't want him to know where I live. Also, I was running out of gas, so I called my dad. He didn't answer, so I called a guy friend. I was like, you have to meet me at the Target, like, I'm running out of gas, and I'm really scared, and this guy's following me. I go into the Target. The guy literally follows me into the Target through the aisles. He's literally like right behind me. Luckily, my friend was there, and everything's fine.
My mom used to play tennis, and I used to go with her and play at the playground by the tennis courts. And one night it was dark, and I was on the playground, and some older man, probably in his late 50s, came up to me and asked me if I'd go help him find his dog. Luckily, 7-year-old me had enough common sense to tell him, hey, let me go ask my mom. I went and asked my mom if I could help this man go find his dog, and she looked back and said, no, stay over here with me. And I turned around and the man was walking away into the dark. At that time, I'm thankful that my parents raised me to be paranoid and not trust people and always ask permission before doing shit. Because 7-year-old me would have been kidnapped and my mom wouldn't have even noticed till she got done playing tennis, and I would have been long fucking gone.
I almost got abducted twice in Turkey. I'm going to talk about the second attempt. There were last minute changes before our flight, so we had to go across town. My sister and I had to catch a bus in the middle of the night. We had a huge black suitcase that was too heavy for us to carry, and the wheels were actually broken. On the bus, I sat across from a man who was mirroring every movement I was making. When I went up to the bus driver, this man literally did this. My sister and I were freaking out, and we knew something was going to happen to us as soon as we got off the bus. We didn't speak the same language, no one spoke English on the bus. In a panic, my sister and I were saying, "Hada bihki Suri, Shan Allah, hada ysaadna, hada Arabi." Thank goodness there was a Syrian refugee on the bus, and he told us, like, what's up, how can I help? And we told him the whole story. He went up to the guy and he was like, why are you bothering them? These are my sisters. He got off the bus stop with us, carried a heavy suitcase on his back, and walked with us for 15 minutes.
When I was in 3rd grade, I had a really old babysitter, and one day he forgot to pick me up from the bus stop after school. At first, I kind of waited, but I didn't act like I was scared until I saw that somebody was watching me and then was starting to walk towards me. Something in me just told me I shouldn't wait for my babysitter, so I just proceeded to walk the way that I would, if I wasn't with my babysitter, to get back to their apartment. Being that I am a terrified 9-year-old, I keep looking back, and as I'm looking back, I see that the dude is still behind me, still very much following me. I swear, y'all, he was walking faster. Anyway, I get to the top of the hill that leads to my babysitter's apartment, and I see this couple, and I don't know, just something in me just said, cry, girl, cry. I started crying. I ran to them, and I hugged them. I said, this man is following me. And I remember them looking at the man looking at them, and just taking off. Please trust your intuition.
Okay, so I was visiting a guy that I was dating. He lived in Omaha, Nebraska. And I went to Kohl's because he was at work, so I went out shopping, just having a good time. And I'm at Kohl's just minding my business, and this lady comes up to me and she's like, hey, I lost my phone, can I borrow yours? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? She's probably mid-30s. She grabs my phone, enters something, and she's like, oh, they didn't answer, and just gave it back to me. I'm like, okay, that was hella weird. So I'm like, I'm just gonna leave. So I'm walking out and I'm feeling someone stare at me. I'm feeling that there's eyes on me. So then I'm like, oh, this is so weird. So I took the long way home, whatever. I get back to the apartment. I lock the door. I lock everything behind me. I hurry up and I get inside. And less than 10 minutes later, I hear a knock on the door. And I'm like, who the fuck is knocking on the door? And I had my boyfriend's location at the time, and he was still at work. So I'm like, who the fuck is outside? So then So pretty much after that, I looked at my boyfriend's location because I thought he was playing a prank on me, and he got home early. So I was like, ha ha ha, what a surprise. No, he was still at work. So then I texted him. I'm like, oh my god, are you expecting anyone to come? Do you have any friends coming over? What's the issue? What's going on? And he was like, no, there's nothing there. And I was too scared to even look through the peephole. I literally was frozen. I just didn't want anything to happen. So I just kind of sat there, and then I waited, and then when he came home, I felt safer. So then I went outside to see if there was anything there, and there was nothing there. And I still don't know who it was. No one left a note. No one said anything. I've had kind of suspicious things happen to my phone since then, but nothing too crazy. So there really isn't an update. I'm safe, and I didn't do anything.
One time I went grocery shopping, and I decided to sit in the car and play some Pokemon Go after loading everything because there were a lot of Pokemon there. And then this guy started walking up a little too purposefully. So I locked my car doors, and he then started trying to break into my car and started threatening to rape me and saying he would take me to dinner first if that's what I needed. And so I screamed at him to get the fuck away from me. And that didn't work. So I turned the wheel of the car and put my car in reverse and told him I was going to fucking run him over if he didn't get out of the way of my car, or get away. And then I drove home as fast as I could and called the cops, and nothing happened just because I couldn't find him.